This is a land where resilience grows, where companies who have put their faith in us know they're on firm ground, know that the roots they've put down here are growing stronger again. This is a land where confidence grows as we continue to open doors for existing and new investors to our shores, though we open them to a changed world. This is a land ready for the future. This is Ireland.
Good evening.
Hello.
Welcome and thank you for joining us at the first Irish Network Japan online event, Crinnew. My name is Ami.
And my name is Eugene. The Irish Network Japan is a not-for-profit organization, and we've been promoting Irish culture in Japan since the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy? Wow. And also, we launched the annual Tokyo St. Patrick's Parades, as well as many, many other parades all over the country.
Obviously, owing to the ongoing pandemic, we couldn't hold a parade last year or this year, so we decided to hold an online event to celebrate all aspects of Irish culture in Japan.
Each year, our parades have a theme based around a social cause. And this year, even though, well, we aren't having a parade, unfortunately, we are partnering with the Citrus Ribbon Project from Ehime.
The Citrus Ribbon Project is a social initiative that started during the current pandemic as a way to create a better society. With the coronavirus increasing the distance between us and making it more difficult to interact, the Citrus Ribbon Project hopes to promote simple acts of kindness that we too often take for granted as a better way to relate to each other. Please visit their website and give them your love and support.
And we'll talk more about the parades later in the show. We also have some very special guests, great music, and lots more to show the depth of Irish culture in Japan. But first, let's hear from some Japanese people who don't know much about Ireland and see what their impressions are.
アイルランドに思いつく言葉ですが、寒い、青い、自然が綺麗です。
1個目はやっぱ緑色です。2個目は、やっぱ自然が多いことなので自然。あともう一つはラグビー。
一つすぐ出てくるのはギネスビール。よく飲んだりもするので、アイルランドはその印象がもしかしたら一番強いかもしれないです。二つ目は近いかもしれないですけど、アイリッシュパブとか。三つ目が結構難しいですね。行ったこととかはないんですけど、ダブリン城はアイルランドだなっていうイメージがあるので、それはテレビで確か昔見たことがあったので。
街が全部緑っていうイメージがあって、食べ物は全部チョコレートみたいに甘い食べ物がいっぱいっていうイメージがあります。で、田舎の方に行くと何もない山の中にすっごく古くて黒い石のお城がたくさん立ってるようなゲームの中の世界みたいなイメージがあります。
We also talked to some Japanese students who have been to Ireland to see what their impressions of what living there is like. Let's roll the tape.
Let's go!
やっぱりアイルランドの自然って本当にすっごい豊かで、日本に帰ってきて改めて空気がすごい綺麗だったなって思う。アイリッシュの方ってすごいこう日本人に対しても優しくて気軽に話しかけてくれるような、そういった環境での1年間って本当に過ごしやすくて、今自分がこう日本で生活してる自分の人生の中ですごい濃い時間だったなっていうふうに思ってます。
アイルランドは雨がすごく多かったように思います。アイルランドに住む人たちは傘もささずに、運動したり通勤通学したり、すごくびっくりしました。雨の中でもとってもアクティブでした。とってもフレンドリーで明るい人が多かったなと思います。とっても大好きです。
いろんな国の友達ができて、その友達とパーティーをしたことです。飲み文化が強かったので、お酒を飲みながら、ゲームをしたりトークをしたことがとても思い出に残っております。
Cháirde Gael is a Cháirde Galéir. Lá speisialte é lá éile pádraig de gach Gael sa bhaile nó thar lear. Is cuma cén áidir fud an dána na bhfuil míad an nuamh. Be míad goléir ag macnamh éiring, agus ar naireacht, agus ag ceiliúradh le chéile. St. Patrick's Day is a unique occasion to all of us of Irish birth or descent. It is a day when, no matter where in the world we might be, we celebrate our heritage and culture. We like to think that the entire world is a little Irish on the 17th of March. In this Olympic year, let me send a special word of greeting to the long-standing Irish community in Japan and to our many and distinguished Japanese friends. A happy St. Patrick's Day. Lá Féile Fádraig, from Ireland to all of our citizens in the land of the rising sun, where traditionally St. Patrick's Day begins.
Thank you very much, Taoiseach Micheál Martin. It was a pleasure having him here today. Now, it's time to talk to our first live guest. He's been coming to Japan and performing for the last 30 years. He's a solo artist and a singer with Hot House Flowers. Please welcome Liam O'Maonlaí. Hi, Liam. Hello.
Hello, Eugene. Hello, Amy.
As someone who's been performing here for such a long time, do you think the awareness of Irish music within Japan has changed over the years?
I couldn't tell you how it's changed. I think always from the onset of coming to Japan, I've always had a sense of a sensibility of tradition in this country, and we come from a traditional place as well, even though our tradition has been interrupted by historical events, so to speak. But as somebody who is connected to a tradition, to an ancient tradition, I feel very at home in a country that has a very strong connection to ancient traditions, and I find it always has been a great place to talk and to perform our music.
Do you think the connection between our two countries is possibly something to do with being small islands on the edge of large continents?
So we're both islands, and so that's a huge physical reality, and we're on opposite sides of the globe. So that is definitely, and I noticed melodies, particularly in the singing from Okinawa, there are certain melodies that resonate with melodies that we would have here, especially in Connemara, in the style of singing there. And then also the stone walls, and maybe certain fishing techniques, and then into the sense of continuum, a language that has survived thousands of years, and a culture, a way of life, and an oral tradition. So some of those are harmonious. I think that we definitely are. We were meant to meet, the Irish and the Japanese. We were meant to meet.
Is the 10th anniversary since the Tohoku earthquake. Because you were here in 2011 and you visited a school in Fukushima, how was that experience like?
So it was a privilege really to be invited over and to visit the area of Fukushima, and to meet some of the young people and the community who are surviving that and dealing with it. And I'll always remember sitting in the mayor's office and how he discussed how they had to spring into action, really. They had to spring into action. This was like a military operation to save the people and save the city, save the people particularly. And then the ongoing, relationship with the fallout and with commerce and all of these different things, it was just great to see the human face of this. And, by going and just visiting a school, like I went to school, so school environment is a recognizable environment. And then to bring music, to see the surprise on the kids' faces when they hear the voices coming from all over. Like Anuna were on that trip, and they sang a song. It started with one voice, and then they kind of came in from all directions, and you could see the buzz, you know, and it was well appreciated. And I had whistles, and you know that we brought a load of whistles to give to the young people, and that, yeah, and I remember walking around and seeing the devastation, and then seeing some of the houses that had to remain be touched until they reached some members of the family. It was quite stunning, you know.
Now, Liam has agreed to play us a song, so we want to give him a moment to make his way over to the piano. So, Liam, when you're ready, can you give us a quick introduction to the song that you're going to sing?
This song is called Na Connery's, and it's the story of a family who were exiled, sent to New South Wales when Australia was being colonized, and it was being the slave labor was made up of criminalized Irish people who are normally criminalized just for being Irish and for speaking their language and stuff like that. So that's the gist of the song, and it's a prayer to bring those people back home.
Ladies and gentlemen, Na Connery's, performed by Liam O'Maonlaí.
Meanwhile, Gleam Shadakara Hagas Garon Victe Saramasaru Ta Kangwilti Guadalu Ledail the Biel the Yarrow Gilar Céilí are to do the fashion is a hair na Connery's harna Fariki good east na New South Wales. Tevach in a Hasebe, Modena, Machana, Orguish Tafle. No Gairas and Shidon, Shachter Martin, Badi Teresh. Leilina Fareña Bigi Gagala Vesegli Hande Aerna Connery's or to Walahoy Ghost na New South Wales. Dana serene of Lahas Gal to where Foscals are in your rain. Is a man ultra so I igi gagalo iseg gui honde na Canaries or to Wailehuan Os na New South Wales. Thank you.
Oh wow, Liam, thank you very much. It was a pleasure hearing from you.
We've had a lot of support in putting together this event from our sponsors, the IDA, Enterprise Ireland, the Dubliners Pub, and many more. But most of all, we've had huge support from the Irish Embassy in Japan. And we're joined now by His Excellency, the Irish Ambassador to Japan, Paul Kavanagh. Good evening, Your Excellency.
Hi, Eugene and Ami. Kumbawa. Banachti na Philip Podrick. And warm greetings to everyone. It's a great pleasure to join you this evening.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I'm so happy to be able to talk to you today. So I have one question. Can you tell us a bit about the history and the connection between Ireland and Japan?
Certainly. Well, engagement between Ireland and modern Japan through people-to-people contacts in particular go back a long time. Certainly until the early years of the Meiji Restoration in the late 19th century. And a large number of Irish people made significant contributions to Japanese society at that time and subsequently in administration, in engineering, architecture and town planning, in music and the arts. Some of Ireland's great artists, writers, engineers had associations with Japan. I think of Yeats, George Bernard Shaw, Heaney, Eileen Gray, the great avant-garde furniture designer and modernist architect of the 20th century. Peter Rice, the great design engineer who designed the roof of the Sydney Opera House, the inverted pyramid at the Louvre, and of course Kansai Airport in Osaka Bay, without mentioning the great Lafcadio Hearn.
Wow, it's such a deep connection, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Ambassador, was it a surprise for you to see an organization like the INJ working on behalf of Irish culture here?
No, in all honesty, it wasn't a surprise because, a little bit like Charles Ryder, I had been here before because I worked and lived in Japan in the mid-90s when I was head of the United Nations office in Tokyo. And I was already aware that the Irish Network Japan has been a wonderful, dynamic organisation with a track record of achievement and a network right across the country for promoting Irish culture and for promoting ties between Irish people living here and their Japanese friends and hosts. Now, INJ's is the wonderful flagship Tokyo parade that takes place on Omotesando Dori. And I think pretty soon, in the coming year or two, would be the 30th Tokyo parade. And together with the IJCC's I Love Ireland Festival in Yoyogi Park, these are the largest Irish events each year right across Asia. The last year when they took place, 2019, by official figures, there were 183,000 people attended them. And these events are the pride of the Irish community in this country, and they impress everybody.
Finally, Ambassador, do you have a message for both of our communities on this St. Patrick's Day?
Well, I think the events of this past year have been extremely challenging for many people at home in Ireland, here in Japan, and around the world. But as better times up ahead become a little bit more discernible, let me perhaps give echo to the St. Patrick's Day message of President Higgins, the President of Ireland, which is centred on the values of solidarity, compassion, care, and kindness. Here in Japan, the Irish community has demonstrated these values, and our Irish people here have, by the same token, benefited from the kindness and acceptance of our Japanese friends and hosts. Together, we have all recently observed the sad 10th anniversary of the great East Japan earthquake and the series of subsequent tragedies. Once again, we remember the victims of that great disaster, as well as the survivors and their families, principally in the Tohoku region. Now, I hope at the same time that the range and quality of the St. Patrick's Day events in Japan this year, and the greenings of monuments in particular in Sapporo, in Yokohama, in Ise, in Fukui and Matsui, not least, will bring some brightness into people's day and brighten our hearts a little bit. And more than anything else, I look forward to the day when we'll be able to see each other more regularly, when the Japanese and Irish people will be again able to visit each other in our beautiful respective countries. And most of all, I look forward to St. Patrick's Day next year and the wonderful, vibrant parade on Omotesando Dori, organised once again by the Irish Network Japan, for whom we all thank for this lovely evening, this lovely Krinu. Karamila Mahagiv. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, Your Excellency, and we look forward to doing our best to represent Irish culture in the future.
And of course, INJ would not be able to operate its various activities without the considerable local support. One of our biggest supporters in Tokyo in putting on the Omotesando parade has been Shibuya Ward Mayor Ken Hasebe, who joins us now. Hasebe 区長、こんばんは。こんばんは。
友人さん、亜美さん、こんにちは。渋谷区長の長谷部健です。本来ならばね、表参道で、賑やかに、大きなパレードが行われるんですけども、今年はこのコロナ禍ということでオンラインの開催というふうに、伺いました。いろいろね難しい中でオンラインということでですね、しっかりと継続して開催を続けていただけるってことをそこの地元のね自治体の首長として大変嬉しくありがたくまた心強くね思っています。この町はね文化を発信し続けるってことは大変町のエネルギーとしても重要なことだと思いますので、こういったね活動に改めて感謝をね申し上げたいなというふうに思います。ありがとうございます。
ではまずはじめに、渋谷とアイルランド文化のつながりについて教えていただけますでしょうか。
渋谷とアイルランドのつながりといえばですね、もちろんセントパトリックスデーのパレードっていうのが長く続いていることもあるんですが、毎年区民の広場にでもですね、代々木公園のビーチ区で開催している区民の広場というものがあるんですが、そこにも出展していただいたりですね、また大使にも当然式に参加していただいたりもしております。さらにね、昨年はハロウィンについてですね、本場のハロウィンってこういうことなんだよってことをまた渋谷にもレクチャーいただいてですね、いつも渋谷に寄り添っていただいていて大変ありがたく感じています。
本当にありがとうございました。
グルマハグッスローラット。
Alright, it's time for our next musical guest, and joining us now is Kozo Toyota. Kozo さん、こんばんは。こんばんは。
友人さん、亜美さん、こんにちは。トヨタケイリーバンドのフルート奏者豊田幸三です。
アイルランドの音楽に興味を持ったきっかけは何でしょうか。
アイルランドの音楽に、興味を持ったきっかけですが、僕は大学の専攻が民族音楽学だったんですね。その中で世界中のいろんな音楽を、聴いたりトライしたりしたんですけれど、中でもアメリカの古い音楽が好きで、ブルーグラスとかオールドタイムとかカントリーとかですね。でそういった音楽が好きでよく聴いていたんですけれど、もうちょっと紐解いていくと、さらにそのルーツがアイリッシュミュージックだということが分かって、しかもですね、そのアイリッシュミュージックには管楽器があると。ティンホイッスルやフルートといった管楽器ですね。僕はもともとトランペットを吹いていて管楽器に親しみがあったので、これはちょっとやってみようと思ってアイリッシュ音楽を始めました。
伝統的なアイルランド音楽と日本の音楽とではどういった共通点がありますでしょうか。であるとしたらどういった点でしょうか。
伝統的なアイルランドの音楽と日本の伝統音楽、共通点あると思います。僕は、地元の、神社で神楽林連というのに所属していて、日本の伝統芸能も演奏するんですけれど、すごく分かりやすいところだと、楽器、僕はそのフルートをアイリッシュでは吹いていて、伝統芸能では、伝統音楽では、日本の伝統音楽ではこういう忍笛っていうのを吹いてますけれど、どちらもこうやって指穴を直接指で押さえて、指でこうやって装飾をつけるんですけど、この装飾のつけ方っていうのは、忍笛とフルートとすごくよく似ています。それから、耳で覚えて、体で覚えてっていう楽譜を使わないでっていう部分も、同じです。さらに言うと、アイリッシュの古いシャンノース、といった形式ですね、の音楽は日本の、独特の間の音楽に、すごく近い、リズムを持ってるんじゃないかなというふうに思います。
フラキョに参加された時に見ているお客さんからどのような反応がありましたか？そして日本のミュージシャンがいわゆるとアイリッシュスタイルで音楽弾いて、その特典があって、オーディエンス、そのお客さんからどの反応がありましたか？何か驚いたところがありましたかとか教えていただけますか？
フラキョールには2016年にケリーバンドコンペティションに、出場しましたが、基本的にいつもこの日本人がコンペティションというものに参加するとすごく温かい歓迎を受けるという感じがしているんですけれど、特にそのケイリーバンドコンペティションの時はもう熱狂的と言っていいほどで、史上初めてというふうに言われましたけれど、スタンディングオベーションでもう会場中が立ち上がって、歓迎してくれてという感じで、演奏終わった後に本当に涙が出そうでした。コンペティションに限らずパブで演奏していても、いろんな人に一体どうやってこの音楽を習得したのかとか、誰に習ったのかとか、しょっちゅう聞かれるんですけれど、日本には先生はいないし、主に CD とかを聞いて独学で学んだとか言うと、だいたいジーザスとか言われます。
今月新しいアルバムが発売されるということですけれども、どこでどういった方法で入手可能でしょうか？また新しいアルバムについてのご紹介をお願いします。
今月、3月の28日にトヨタケイリーバンドの新しいアルバム、セブンモアが発売されます。Amazon とかですね、あと Apple Music、Spotify みたいなサブスクリプションサービスでも聞くことができますし、ケイリーバンド側でもホームページから、多分僕のショップの方につなげてかな。どっちにしても販売、できるようにする予定です。よろしくお願いします。
And now let's see the Toyota Céilí Band in action. Here's their performance from Flakyo 2016. And of course, one of our greatest supporters in holding the parades in Omotesando has been the Harajuku Omotesando Keiyaki Kai chairman, Seiichi Matsui, who joins us now. こんばんは、松井さん、こんばんは。
ジアグイッチ、ユージンさん、アミさん、ハッピーセントパトリックスデイ。原宿表参道欅会の理事長の松井です。オンラインとイベントクリニュー開催おめでとうございます。パレードがですね、昨年に続き今年もまた開催できないというのは大変残念なんですが、でもこのオンラインイベントクリニューを通じてですね、皆さんと交流できることは大変いいことだなと思ってます。
表参道でセントパトリックパレード始まったきっかけは何でしょうか？
表参道で、セントパトリックスデーを始めたのは1993年からですか、もう大変長い歴史を持ってるんですが、表参道というところはどういうところか、大体の方はご存知だと思いますが、もともとはここは、明治神宮神社ですね、明治神宮の、参道として作られた通りです。大変道幅が広く、そしてまっすぐな通り、そして緩やかな傾斜がついているというね、非常に歩くにはとっても気持ちのいい場所になっています。ここを使ってセントパトリックスデーパレードをですね、開催していただけるというのは私どもにとっても大変嬉しいことなんですが、もともとこの町は外国の方が大変いらっしゃるところとして知られておりました。古くはですね、前回の東京オリンピックの前まで今の代々木公園の地区に、ワシントンハイツというアメリカのですね、GHQ の官僚ですとか空軍の将校の人たちが家族と一緒に住んでた町だったんですね。でその人たちが表参道へ出てきて、いろいろなことをして楽しんでいた、そういう歴史のある町です。私たちの会はですね、そうしたイベントをですね、いろいろサポートすることを、一つの活動として行っておりますが、その内容について言いますと、日本の人にとっては外国の文化を直接肌で感じることのできる場所、そしてもう一つは外国からもたくさんの方がお見えになりますけれども、ここの表参道へ来ることによって日本らしさを感じていただく。それは明治神宮というですね、大変人気のある大きな神社もありますし、それ以外に日本独自のファッションがですね、この町から発信されているということも、大事なことじゃないかなと思います。
INJ とパレード開催に向けて一緒に取り組まれてきたご経験を通されて、 INJ についてどのような印象がありますか？
セントパトリックスデーパレードの長い歴史の中ではですね、アイリッシュネットワークジャパンというですね、日本とアイルランドの交流をする団体の人たちが大変活躍しておりまして、この人たちのですね、存在なくしてはこのパレードは成立しないと思います。私も個人的にはですね、いろいろこのパレード参加させていただいて、楽しい経験をしております。
ちなみにセントパトリックスパレードでその一番の思い出は何でしょうか？
一番近いところでは、グランマーシャルという、パレードの、指揮官みたいなもんですね、それをですねさせていただいたこともあります。それからですね、こういう活動を通じて、それからそれ以前もですね、私アイルランドの方の友人が何人かおりまして、その人たちと知り合ったことは大変有意義なんですが、私の人生にとっても大きなことなんですが、そうした人たちがアイルランドへ帰った後もですね、この東京のパレードの機会に東京に来てくれて、私がパレード参加しているとですね、偶然久しぶりの友達に会うことができたりですね、本当にそういういろいろ楽しい、機会チャンスをいただいております。今年はこういうオンラインイベントになりましたが、なんとかですね、なんとか早くパレードを再開できるような元通りのですね、状況に戻ってくることをですね期待して、ビデオメッセージを、終わらせていただきたいと思うんですが、表参道でですね皆さんにお会いできることを楽しみにしております。スローンゴフォール。
So, I think it's time we show people some of the parades that we've been talking about.
Oh, sure.
We collected photos from the past 20 years of parades in Tokyo and all around Japan. Please enjoy this compilation video, and I really hope you like the color green.
I can't wait. And joining us now is the chairman of the INJ, Emmett Bowen. Hi, Emmett.
Hi, Emmett.
Hi, Eugene and Army, and to all our viewers around the world watching. Belated Happy St. Patrick's Day. Let me tell you a little bit about the INJ, the Irish Network Japan. It is the meeting place or the Krinu of the Irish community since 1987 here in Japan. It is run by an amazing group of volunteers with its mission to spread Irish culture throughout Japan. It is also home to the biggest St. Patrick's Day parade in all of Asia, the INJ Tokyo St. Patrick's Day Parade.
And what do you think about the reactions of Japanese people to Irish culture?
The Japanese don't really know a lot about Irish culture, but they are very interested, especially when they hear about our festivals like St. Patrick's Day and Halloween, all coming from Ireland. But a lot of this has changed now, with Ireland being defeated in the Rugby World Cup by Japan in 2019, with many fans and rugby players returning back home to Ireland with rave reviews of their experience here in Japan. This has only lit the fire for both Japanese and Irish about wanting to know more about each other's cultures.
We've just seen a video of all the parades since the year 2000. Could you tell us, how did this whole fantastic parade thing started?
The INJ were the first ever to have a St. Patrick's Day parade in the whole of Japan, way back in 1992, held in Roppongi, Tokyo. In 1993, it was then moved to Omotesando in Shibuya, Tokyo, where it has been home ever since to the biggest St. Patrick's Day parade in all of Asia.
Lastly, Emmett, how can Japanese people get involved in the INJ?
The best way to join the INJ and to keep up to date with the latest Irish events and Irish news here in Japan is to jump onto our Facebook page. You can also follow us on our Twitter account as well as get onto our website. All the links will be in the description below. Until next time, stay safe and love one another.
Thank you very much, Emmett. And everybody, please visit us at the link on screen right now. We're always looking for new volunteers to join us around the country.
That's right. And if you're thinking about starting a St. Patrick's Day event or any Irish cultural event in your area, please get in touch with us via the website below.
Let's bring on to another music guest. Please welcome the fiddler from the Lady Chieftains, Ayako Okunuki. Are you there, Ayako? Ayako, hello.
Ayako-san, こんにちは。
ユージンさん、アミさん、そしてご覧くださっている皆さん、こんにちは。
アイルランド音楽に最初に興味を持たれたきっかけを教えていただけますか？
大学生の頃によく足を運ぶ CD ショップがあったんですが、そこでワールドミュージックの視聴コーナーを見つけて、たまたまそこに置いてあったフォーメンアンダードッグというアイルランドのバンドの CD を聴いたのがきっかけです。でも実はその前にもきっかけがあって、私は幼い頃からクラシック音楽を学ぶ環境に、育っていたんですが、今ももちろんクラシック音楽とアイリッシュ音楽どちらも大好きで演奏しているんですけれども、その当時はなんかこうお堅いイメージで見られてるのかなって思ったり、逆に自分ももっとこう自分が出せるものっていうのを見つけたかったっていうのと、あとは幅広い人にいろんなジャンルの音楽を届けられたらきっと楽しいだろうなって思ったのが始まりで、最終的にたどり着いたのがアイルランド音楽でした。
ちなみにチーフタンスは国際的には結構有名なバンドなんですが、日本でツアーされた時にその経験はどのような経験がありましたか？
緊張というものより嬉しさと興奮で、もう鼻血が出そうなぐらいでした。演奏はもちろんなんですけど、その観客を引き込む魅力だったり、巻き込む姿っていうのをこう間近で感じながら一緒に演奏することができたのは本当に貴重な経験でした。
綾子さん、なんか今日は新しい知らせがあるんでしょうか？
お知らせがあります。じゃん。3月28日に私のソロアルバムが発売になります。イェイじゃん。こだわって作った、一枚なんですが、たくさんの素晴らしいミュージシャンに参加していただいて、あと急遽海外からも
Thank you, Ayako.
ありがとうございました。また来年のセントパトリックスデーでお会いできるのを楽しみにしてます。
Now let's check out a clip of Lady Chieftains in action.
Let's do it. There are also a number of more contemporary Irish festivals which take place around the country. One of those is the Wild Rover Festival here in Tokyo, which has been hosting some top Celtic punk bands from around the country for over 10 years.
That's right, and we're joined now by the organizer of the Wild Rover Festival, Hideto Hirata. Hirata-san, こんばんは。こんばんは。
友人とアミさん、はじめましてかな？多分はじめましてですね。
では最初にアイルランド文化に興味を持たれたきっかけについて教えてください。
もともと僕が好きな音楽がパンクロックとかイギリスのパンクロックとかがすごい好きだったんですけど、その中でもクラッシュのジョー・ストラマーが好きで、そんな彼を追ってった時に、ポーグスというねバンドに出会いました。そこからはもう早かったです。いろんなトラッドを聞いて、でそれと結びつくようにやっぱりギネスビールやアイリッシュウイスキーっていうのにどんどんハマっていったっていうところですかね。
ワイルドローバーフェスティバルを始めようと思ったきっかけは何でしょうか？
これもそうですね。アイリッシュの音楽を知っていった流れの中で、後にセントパトリックスデーっていうもの、当時日本でもまだ全然今ほどもう認知がなかったと思いますが、パレードを友人から聞いて見に行って、でなんかセントパトリックスデー、パレードはあったんですけど、音楽を主体としたようなイベントがその当時特になくて、でやろうかという話にちょっと周りの仲間となってで始めました。その時はそんなに長く続けるとかまでも思ってなかったですかね。
今後のフェスティバルに向けてお考えになっていることや計画などはありますでしょうか？
そうですね、何年も前からそうなんですけど、アイルランドの音楽っていろんな世界中のルーツミュージックにどんどんつながっていった音楽だと思ってます。なのでなんていうんですかね、アイリッシュの音楽だけでなくまたワールドミュージックっていう広い目でいろんな音楽がクロスオーバーするようなイベント作りっていうのをもっとやっていきたいなと思ってますね。それはセントパトリックスデーに打つイベントとは別でっていうのでも考えてます。じゃあ最後に、皆さんできる範囲で良い、セントパトリックスデーを。ありがとう。さよなら。
ありがとうございます、平田さん。And that brings us neatly onto our next musical guest. And who do we have now? Well, it is Martin Johnson, whose Celtic rock band Johnson's Motorcar has made several appearances at the Wild Rover Festival. Hello, Martin.
Hi.
Hello, Eugene and Ami. Hey, thank you. Yes, this is Martin Johnson from Johnson's Motorcar.
Johnson's Motorcar has played a number of times at the Wild Rover Festival. Is it a surprise to be in Japan and see such a passion for contemporary Irish music?
Well, Johnson's Motorcar, yeah, we've been playing the Wild Rover since well near the beginning of it, if not the beginning of it. And it's an amazing event. There's not really another event in the country where you can see those types of bands all in one place. And it's been a great opportunity for us over the years to get our music out to people who like that type of music. Is it surprising that that type of music is popular? Not really. I think it's there's something infectious about Irish music in particular, and it tends to be fairly well received on a wide level. So
You've also played major festivals all over Japan, including Fuji Rock and the Rising Sun Rock Festival in Sapporo. Do Japanese fans react well to your style of Irish music?
Well, like I just said, it's infectious on a level of sorry, it's infectious on a level that I think sort of spans international borders. I think people are really interested in the type of sound, and when we did Fuji Rock, yeah, I mean, we had a great reaction. They didn't know Irish music probably from anything, but they certainly were moved, and I think that the music itself, the genre, really does have the ability to impact people on a wide scale.
And now, here they are with their version of South Australia, Johnson's Motor Car.
Sticking with festivals for a minute, one of the newest festivals in Tokyo is the annual I Love Ireland Festival that takes place in Yoyogi Park, organized by our good friends at the Ireland-Japan Chamber of Commerce, who sent us this video.
今年は6回目のI Love Irelandフェスティバルということで、年々6年目になりましたけども、来場者数が増えてきておりまして、今年は多分去年よりもさらに人が多い来場者をいただいていると思いますんで、ますますこのイベントがですね、大きくなっていってもらいたいというふうに考えております。アイルランドってなかなか日本では知られない方が多いんで、やはりもっと多くの日本の方にアイルランドっていう素晴らしい国をですね、知っていただきたいということでこのイベントを続けております。もともとですね、このフェスティバルは表参道でやってるパレードもう20何年目になってるんですけどもを補うというか、 パレード終わった後に行くとこがないねみたいな話から始めまして、で始めたんですけども、だんだんこのイベントがどんどん大きくなってきましてですね、で今やアイラブアイランドフェスティバルの最大なものとしてパレードが居続けるという形に、一体でやるという方向にどんどん進んでます。でセントパトリックデーっていうのはもともとアイルランドの最大の祝日のイベントでして、世界中でものすごい言われてるイベントなんで、日本でもまだまだ知名度がそんなに高くないんですけども、ハロウィンはもともとご承知のかどうかわかんないんですけども、アイルランド起源のイベントで日本ではすごい有名になってますけども、秋のハロウィン、春のセントパトリックということで、日本で2大イベントにだんだん育てていきたいというふうに思ってます。はい。
We would like to extend our deepest appreciation to the IJCC, who have been great supporters of the INJ over the years.
Let's turn now to food. Although there are dozens of Irish pubs all over the country serving all kinds of food, relatively little is known about Irish food.
That's true.
Here to tell us a little bit more about Irish food is Irish celebrity chef Rachel Allen.
Oh my God, my mother's a big fan.
Really?
Yeah, I can't wait.
And her family owns and runs the world-famous Ballymaloe Hotel, cookery school and organic farm in East Cork on the south coast of Ireland. And she's outside of Ballymaloe House right now. Hello, Rachel, and thanks for taking the time to join us.
Hi, Eugene and Abby. So lovely to meet you and wishing you a very happy St. Patrick's Day from Ballymaloe here in Ireland.
Hi, Rachel. Oh my God, it's very exciting to have you here. How would you describe the essence of Irish cooking?
Irish food really is, it's very simple, but really delicious. We really rely on our really good produce. We've got wonderful green grass because we have a fair bit of rain. So we've got fantastic meat, really wonderful dairy, great fish. We're on a big island, so we have wonderful seafood and really, really good vegetables from the lovely fertile soil as well. So we really rely on these natural, simple ingredients with not very much fuss, not many extra ingredients added in. Simple, lovely food that is absolutely delicious.
Sounds delicious. Do you have many Japanese visitors at Ballymaloe House? What are their reactions like?
Yes, we do. We have a lot of Japanese people who come to Ballymaloe, who come to the house and who also come and learn to cook Western style food at the cookery school. So I love getting to teach Japanese students. They're always just so lovely. It's really enjoyable. I think they really enjoy being here in Ireland. They find the rain kind of entertaining. I think they enjoy the Irish humour, and I think they are quite intrigued with Western style cooking, as we are intrigued with Eastern and Japanese beautiful, wonderful food.
So Rachel, how can Japanese people learn more about Irish cooking?
We're teaching a lot of students online, and we have been teaching some Japanese people online too, through our Zoom classes and our cook-along classes and demonstration. So if you go to ballymaloo.ie, you'll find out lots more information. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and wishing you all a great day.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And joining us now is an Irish man with actual experience selling Irish food in Japan, Alan Fisher of the Kyojin Stew House. You've run a successful Irish restaurant in Togoshi Ginza for 6 years. What has the Japanese reaction been to your food?
Hello, so I'm Alan Fisher. I'm here in Kyojin Stew House, Matsui. However, we opened our first kind of Irish restaurant and Bunka Koryu Mise in Togoshi Ginza, 2015 in Tokyo, so just over 6 years ago. And our mission was to use food as a doorway to share Irish culture, traditional Irish food, soups, stews, freshly cooked breads, mashed potatoes. We don't have a fryer, we don't have a microwave, everything's cooked fresh. And Japanese people love their food, so through that we like to share other parts of Irish culture by having a gallery as well. So this is our explanation file for everything that's on the wall has both an English and Japanese meaning. For example, we've got the Irish Nihon Ga gallery. or we have a hanga or linoleum art tour of Dublin. We have a fairy tree here behind me, but everything has an explanation here.
You've decided to move your operation to Matsui, right? What prompted that decision?
We moved to Matsui earlier this year. Actually, we just had our opening a few days ago after spending several weeks doing renovation. And the reason for that was twofold. One was a business reason. Because we import and wholesale Irish beers, we needed a warehouse or storage space outside of Tokyo. Another business reason was that we launched our online store for frozen vacuum-packed soups, stews, breads, sausages, meats, bacon. We got our meat license last year as well. And unfortunately, the space in Tokyo was too small, so we needed to have a production kitchen outside the city as well. So here are two business reasons. Why we chose Matsui in particular was because it ticked the boxes for those two business reasons, but also there's a strong Irish cultural connection through Koizumi Yakumo, Patrick Lafcadio O'Hearn, who came to Japan in 1890. Very interesting man, travelled all over the place. He went to America, New Orleans, French Caribbean, ended up in Japan, married to a Japanese lady, and wrote several books about Japanese mythology and ghost stories, many of which were spoken. They'd never been written down before, so he wrote them in English, which were then subsequently translated to Japanese. And his legacy is just felt throughout the city. Even his last living relative, like Koizumi Bonsan, he's here, living and active in the Irish community. So by collaborating with the Sami Japan Ireland Association, I think we can really bring a little Ireland feel to Matsui.
You also run an import business bringing Irish food to Japan. How is that going?
Yes, so we also have, apart from the Kojin Shoot House where we use food as a door to share Irish culture, we also have Kojin imports. At the moment we import 3 Irish beers, partnering with Whitewater Brewery up in County Down in the Mourne Mountains, not far from where I live in Dundalk, where my home is. That was a very difficult time over the last year. Unfortunately, many alcohol-focused businesses in the hospitality sector took a really bad hit. I think everybody in the hospitality sector took a bad hit, and especially with the Irish festivals and stuff getting cancelled, we were left with a lot of stock that really weighed us down, especially for the beers. And that's something we really have to try work on in the future, otherwise it won't become feasible. On the flip side of that, we have our Kyojin store, which we launched. We've been in the works for several years. In 2017, we got our licensing to ship frozen food. We applied, when we were doing the import business, we applied for online beer shipping. So we also, as I mentioned, we got our meat license last year. So I'm very fortunate that the online store was able to kind of carry us through those very difficult months last year, particularly in April and May, and I'm very grateful to all the customers that purchase anything from our online store, so we're forever grateful for them. And so everything we do is just about sharing Irish culture, and it's something we hope to continue, spreading it here in Japan. And if anyone's watching this video, happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alan. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are dozens of Irish pubs all around the country, and you can find many of them on our website. Here, now, to tell us more about the culture of Irish pubs is co-owner of Ansolas, Inyoyogi, Will Ryan. Will, can you tell us about what are the main differences between an izakaya and an Irish pub?
The biggest difference I would say is that in an izakaya you usually just go and sit at your own table and you sit with your own group and you don't really mix with anybody else. That's the complete opposite of what an Irish pub should be. An Irish pub is mainly about the counter, where you come and you mix with other customers. You don't really tend to stay in your own group. You come to the counter, you might sit beside somebody of 18, you might sit beside somebody of 65, man, woman, black, white, gay, straight, whatever. It's a great place to mix and meet new friends. So if you're working in a company and you have to go drink together and you don't really like your boss or senpai, I recommend come to an Irish pub so you're not stuck with them all night.
And Will, what are the Japanese people's reactions when they first go into an Irish pub?
I would say the biggest reaction they probably has is curiosity. A lot of them don't really know what's the difference between Irish and England and Ireland and Northern Ireland. So I get asked that question a lot. Another reaction they have is probably to drink a lot of drink they haven't seen before, like Guinness, Kilkenny, they might have heard of it, mightn't have drank it before. They're really good customers, they're very curious, and you do get asked a lot of questions. yeah, that's about it. Sláinte.
Thanks very much, Will. Now, outside of music, one of the more famous art forms to come out of Ireland is Irish dancing.
Yeah, and with the international success of shows such as Riverdance, Lord of the Dance, and others, Irish dancing has taken the world by storm.
We reached out to some of Japan's top Irish dancers to put something together for this event. Please enjoy this mashup video performed to a remix of the Tula reel played by Noel Sobukawa. Joining us now is former river dancer and owner of the Takahayashi Dance Academy, the man himself, Takahayashi. Taka-san, こんばんは。
ユージンさん、アミさん、こんにちは。高林です。
アイリッシュダンスに興味を抱いたきっかけを教えていただけますでしょうか。
そうですね。きっかけはIT コンサルタントをやってた時に同僚からリバーダンスの東京公演に誘われて、でそれを見に行ったのがきっかけですね。それでアイリッシュダンスをやってみたいなと思いました。
タカさんは国際的に有名なリバーダンスのダンサーの皆さんと一緒にパフォーマンスされていましたが、その時の経験はどうだったんでしょうか。聞かせてください。
共演、リバーダンスの、メンバーになりたいと思ってダンスを始めたので、その週7から10公演ぐらいあるんですけど、そのワールドツアーのメンバーになれたってことは本当に夢が叶って嬉しかったです。で、と同時にそのメンバーになったっていう自覚と責任感も芽生えましたし、で観客の方も本当に一期一会だと思っていて、で本当に一公演一公演いいパフォーマンスを見せたいなと思って、頑張ってました。で他のダンサーたちもそんだけ公演が長いと常にベストコンディションっていうわけでもないので、お互いをサポートし合いながら家族のように毎日生活していく、パフォーマンスもしたり普段の生活あるんで生活をしていくっていう形なんですけど、そういうのを経験できたっていうのはかけがえのないことだったなと思います。
日本の小さなお子さんから大人がアイリッシュダンスをすることでどういったプラスがあるか教えていただけますか。
そうですね、プラス面もちろん体力がつきますし、 で今までなんかできなさそうだなって思ってたことが、継続してできるようになってくるとやっぱ自信がつきますし、本当に今は大人の方も仕事をされながらダンスに関わっている方もたくさんいらっしゃいますし、プロを目指す方もいれば本当に趣味でやっているっていう方も大勢いらっしゃいますんで、自分に合った形で、生活の一部にそのダンスが入ってくると嬉しいなと思いますし、ぜひ、トライしてみてください。
タカさんありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
インタビューありがとうございました。さようなら。
One of the ways Japanese people may have encountered Irish culture is through sport. Whether it was the Football World Cup in Tokyo in 1992 or with Japan's epic win over Ireland in the Rugby World Cup 2019.
Yeah, we did lose that one, didn't we? Huh? Very unfortunate. But hey, sport is very much a part of Irish culture. But maybe not so well known here in Japan are the Ireland's national sports. Right. Joining us now to talk about Gaelic football are three members of the Japan Gaelic Athletic Association, or GAA, Colin, Haruka, and Greg.
So Greg, can you tell us a bit more about GAA in Japan?
Japan GAA is a Gaelic football team based in Tokyo. We've been playing the game here for over 25 years. Gaelic football is an Irish sport. It's been played in Ireland for over 2 centuries and is still the most popular sport, beating soccer and rugby. Japan GAA is an international football team. Majority of players are expats from Ireland, but we also have a large minority from Japan and a mix of people from other countries. In normal years, we do bi-weekly trainings in Tokyo, and one of our most popular events every year is our yearly sports day, where we play blitz-style football games, we do kids training and puck fada and much more.
Hey Haruka, what do you think is the appeal of GAA to Japanese people?
What I like about Japan GAA is the balance between casual and serious atmosphere in the team. During the training and games, everyone is really focused, but apart from the training time, people talk a lot and go out, like have a meal and drinks. There is annual events as well, so those opportunities help me to learn more about team members. And the appeal to Japanese people is everyone can start Gaelic football because I think not many Japanese schools teach Gaelic football, of course. So people learn from zero and we can support each other and it's really, really fun and with a lot of international atmosphere. So everyone is welcome.
Colin, what do you think about playing with Japanese players?
I love playing football in Japan with all the Japanese people and introducing a new sport to them. I love how passionate and dedicated they are to the sport, despite the fact that they may have never seen it before and are learning from scratch. They come to every training, are always so happy to even learning drills, which many people hate, but they're passionate to learn new skills. And even better than that, they're passionate to be involved in the club and drive it forward. They help so much with the committee and pitch booking and really help to promote our club in the community, which is amazing. Probably our best experience was when we had the Japan ladies team go back to Ireland and play in Croke Park in front of 60,000 people on the famous Croke Park pitch, which was amazing, so they could show their passion for the games back home.
And now we turn to the world of motorsports. Although Ireland isn't necessarily very famous for the world of motorsport, but specifically this year, competing in the Japanese Super Formula Lights class is Luca Allen.
He started karting at the age of 9, and by the age of 12, had won his first All-Ireland karting championship.
Wow.
2 years ago, at the age of 17, he won the FIA Formula 4 Southeast Asia Championship. He joins us now. Hi, Luca!
Hey, Luca!
Welcome
Hello.
to the show.
Hello, Eugene and Amy.
Can you tell us what are the differences between racing with a Japanese team as opposed to teams you've raced with before?
So the differences with that I find racing in Japan compared to Europe or wherever else I raced. Obviously, I haven't done that much racing in Japan. I was here for a few months last year to compete in the second half of the season. And the biggest difference that's really stood out to me is the environment. I think you can kind of sense that in all of Japan, even when you're walking around. It's just such a great environment. The people are nice, especially in racing. There's a lot of deals being made, there's a lot of things being said, there's a lot of offers put on the table, and it's hard to trust those deals really a lot of the time. And in Japan, you can take people's word in the racing world, and that kind of, it gives a nice bit of confidence, I suppose, going into a racing season. So yeah, I mean, it's great. I'm loving it.
What are some of the challenges you face as an Irish driver in Japan?
So some of the challenges I face as a racing driver, obviously coming from Ireland and Japan, the obvious one is the language barrier. I need to sharpen up my Japanese. But yeah, I mean, there's not, I suppose, getting used to the culture. It's like two different worlds, Ireland and Japan, culture-wise, and so trying to act appropriately to the Japanese culture and obviously act with a lot of respect. I think that's very important in Japan. And then I suppose another challenge I face is trying to interact with the Japanese brand for the sponsors to try to keep me on track. But we're getting there, and I suppose it'll just get easier the longer I'm here.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with your season here. Thanks, Luca.
Thank you.
Arigatou gozaimasu. Ganbarimasu.
I think this would be a great time for another musical guest. We're very privileged to have been sent this video recorded especially for us by Ronan and Colm of Keela. Please enjoy.
Yeah. Hello, Ronan, Colm, Keela, Lafayla, Porrick, Hunna, Huib. We're going to play a few tunes for you. Yeah, we'll play one tune. Happy St. Paddy's Day. So we were in Japan long ago. We were there quite a lot. We met a fella there called Oki, Ainu artist, and we recorded and made an album with him. Keiko, the head of the record company who brought us there, she introduced us to him, and we got on very well. A lot of fun. We have to say hello to Amy, to Eugene, and to Blacko. All right, let's play a tune. How's about that then? 1, 2, 3. Happy St. Paddy's Day, Slán!
Now let's talk about Irish literature. As the ambassador mentioned at the top of the show, some of the earliest contacts between Ireland and Japan were Irish literary giants.
That's right. In the late 19th and early 20th century, Nobel laureate William Butler Yeats and Lafcadio Hearn formed deep links with Japan. Joining us now is the great-grandson of Lafcadio Hearn himself, Koizumi Bon. Bon-san, こんばんは。
こんばんは、Bon-san. Hello.
友人さん、ハミさん、こんにちは。松江の小泉ボンです。
ボンさんがまだお若い頃、アイルランドについていろいろお話を聞いたと思うんですけれども、初めてアイルランドを訪れた時の印象はどんなものでしたでしょうか。また期待していたものと違いましたか。
僕が初めてアイルランドに行ったのは1994年です。その時はやっぱり予想以上にアイルランドに感動しました。一つは、美しい風景ですが、特にサリーギャップの風景が忘れられません。それから驚いたことにヤクモのラフカリオ・ハンの叔母のスーザンの子孫と会うことができたということです。その2つが特に感動したことだったかなというふうに思います。
ボンさんはラフカリオ・ハーンの精神を継承させることに深く関わってきました。どのようにして来られましたか。
はい、文学っていうのは読者が楽しんだり、研究者が研究したりっていうのが基本的にあると思いますけれども、それだけではなくてもっと社会にいろいろ生かしていくべきだと僕は思って活動してきました。小泉八雲記念館松江にありますが、2016年にリニューアルされまして展示も一新しました。で、毎年企画展をやっていますが、後ろにちょうどポスターがありますね。で、これは2017年日本とアイルランドの外交関係樹立60年を記念してやった、文学の宝庫アイルランドっていう、そういう企画展のポスターですけれども、はい、こういう活動をミュージアムではやっています。で、そして2008年頃からオープンマインド・オブ・ラフカリオ・ハンというテーマで、ヤクモの思想の根本にオープンマインドがあるということですね。それをあちこちで伝える活動をしていますが、特に2015年にはダブリンでそれを行いました。朗読のパフォーマンスや企画展示等をやりましたけれども、また同じ2015年にですね、トラモアラフカリオ・ハーンがしばしばそこの海で泳いだそういうゆかりの場所なんですが、トラモアにラフカリオ・ハーンジャパニーズガーデンズっていう大変素晴らしい庭ができました。小泉八雲の精神を、生涯をですね9つの庭で表現しているっていうものですけれども、これからもですねこういった小泉八雲を通した日本とアイルランドとの、交流に努めていきたいなということを思っています。アイルランドの方にももっとハワイや日本を知っていただきたいなというふうに思っています。
ボンさんは日本とアイルランドの民間伝承の専門家ということですが、2カ国の民間伝承の伝統に類似点などはあったりしますでしょうか。
はい、日本とアイルランドにはまず妖精と妖怪の文化が共通していると思います。アイルランドでは有名なバンシーっていう妖精がいますけれども、日本にも座敷わらしという妖精がいます。両方とも家についている妖精ですね。そして水と樹木の信仰っていうのが大変両国共通していると思います。アイルランドには3000を超すホーリーウェルがありますけれども、日本も大変水の神を祀って水を大事にする。それを魔除けにも使ったりしますけれども、それから同時に樹木を大事にしますね。樹木は人間のために使うのではなくて神様が宿るっていう感覚が両国共通していると思います。やはりドルイド信仰と、日本人もですね、ご神木の信仰があるんですね。いずれにしても民衆がですね大変自然と異界をリスペクトしているっていうことで、これはおそらく国連が採択した SDGs の思想とも共通するとても大切な点ではないのかなというふうに思っています。
Thank you very much, Professor Bon Koizumi. As was mentioned before, the Nobel laureate William Butler Yeats also had a deep connection and fascination with Japan and was deeply impacted and inspired by Japanese Noh theater.
Here to perform the Yeats poem, The Wild Swans of Cool, in a Noh theater style is Japanese actor Harakawa Takayuki, featuring Japanese band Céilí.
「 ィリアム・バトラー・イエイツ、プールの野生の白鳥、山内正太郎や秋の美に燃える木々、乾いた森の小道、10月の薄明かりの下、湖は動かぬ空を映し出す。岩々の間にあふれ出す湖水、そこには59羽の白鳥が。初めて白鳥の数を数えてからもう19回目の秋が来てしまった。まだ数え終わってないというのに白鳥たちは突然舞い上がり、大きなハートを立て、ちぎりの輪となって去っていった。このような美しい白鳥たちをずっと見てきたのだ。そして今、私の心は傷ついている。初めてこの湖のほとりで、頭の上で白鳥たちのハートを夕暮れの背中で軽い足取りで歩いてから何もかも変わってしまった。聞かれることを知らず、恋人のように寄り添いながら白鳥たちは冷たく心地よい湖に遊び、空へと舞い上がる。老いを知らぬ心、どこをさまよっていようと情熱と征服は老いを知らぬ白鳥たちと共にいる。だが今、鳥たちは静かな水面を漂う。不可思議に、そして美しく。どこの草に彼らは巣を作る。どこの湖のほとりで、どこの池のほとりで、誰かの目を喜ばせる。いつか私が目覚め、白鳥たちが飛び去ったのを知るときに。
Now let's talk about film. One of the more interesting collaborations between Ireland and Japan that came out of the COVID pandemic was the documentary film Run.
This documentary was a collaboration between filmmakers from both Ireland and Japan. Joining us now are the documentary's producer, Jessa Petrosky, and director, Raymond Murphy.
Hi, Eugene and Ami. Thanks for having me on.
Hello, Eugene and Ami. Thank you very much for giving myself and Jessup this opportunity to talk about our video. We're both immensely proud of it, and so we welcome any and all opportunities to discuss it further.
Let's talk to you first, Jessup. Can you tell us, why did you decide to produce this event and documentary?
Yeah, I decided to produce this documentary basically as a stopgap for a few months that I thought we wouldn't be traveling. I never knew that it would be shown here a year later, and still not able to travel internationally. So, basically I was working in the travel industry at the time, and I was trying to do something to hold us all over and give a virtual experience in some ways to make us feel connected, with places that we can't access anymore.
And Jessup, how did you come up with the concept of linking Ireland and Japan, and how did you put together the team?
Yeah, so Ireland, I got an email from someone that I knew over there who had reached out to me and said, Jess, I've got some content here from a drone pilot that I work with, and do you think there's anything unique that we could do with it to help the travel industry and also maybe bring hope to people that, Ireland's a beautiful place. We'd like to share it with the world, keep people's spirits up. And, it was with that spark that I just decided, okay, let's give this a try. Let's try to produce an online event back when online events weren't very popular at the time. And so, we did this just basically with a team of people that came together. I think there were about 6 or 7 of us at the beginning who volunteered our time. And I was lucky enough to have Raymond join us. And so I think he'll tell you a little bit more about how we produced this.
Yeah, well, I wanted Japanese people to see Ireland anew, and I wanted them to realise that even though we mightn't have the built-up history that other European nations have, that we were able to bring something to the game that no other European countries have as well, which is our own culture, which is imbued and embedded in the way we behave and in each and every Irish person. And that fundamentally chiefly comes from, well, the mixture of the landscape, but also the language. And so the language was very prominent, and I approached that by making sure that it was prepared for by the musicians. And I knew that this musical landscape or soundscape paired with what Akira was going to produce would provide something new altogether that nobody, whether you're Japanese or Irish, had seen before, and I wasn't wrong.
Thank you very much, Jessup and Ray.
Thank you.
And now let's see a few minutes of Akira Miyanaga's artistic interpretation of Ireland, Run, which was created last June as part of an online event, Explore, Dream, Discover Together, Ireland and Japan. Produced by Jessup Pistrowski and directed by Raymond Murphy.
My name is Alistair McBroom. I live in Northern Ireland. I live in a little seaside village on the northeast coast. It is at the start of what they call the Causeway Coastal Route, which is a long drive that takes in some of the most spectacular scenery along the north of the island. I live in the village with my 2 daughters, and I have worked as a photographer and filmmaker for, I would say, nearly 30 years now. In March this year, when we went into lockdown, I partnered with a company in Belfast called Yellow Design. Michael McGlade is the lead in the company, and suggested that perhaps we try and do something for tourism in Northern Ireland while we were in lockdown. The concept that we were all indoors and couldn't visit the places that we all like to go or show off these places to tourists. Certainly we want to keep our doors open, and I think this is one way of doing it, was to share the footage and show just the majestic scenery and again harking back to the contrast between Ireland and Japan. There are similarities.
Agus ní dhéann sé stad riamhnach chithe go buinse amach an dam tír.
Lauríonn tú lom agus tú ag tarn tar do chud jeans. Fecinn mé húchéad rud nó na húsíonn tú. Tianna mé do chud grúige a chur tína chéile. Ní iminn mé garchuid nó na dá tú ag cócarácht. Nuair tá mé ré sanna sá. Fecinn mé an tain fíor ghuine lá. Os mo chóir amach leil an leir grá. Go barb feic mé ort agus hiú mé amach. Le soda fún tháinig mé ará se gábhail brón leat. Ní féidir lom cuoinech dal tharla seo riamh. Chus sásta le cuileán rionions chola hór. Nuair tá mé ré sanna sá. Fecinn mé an tain fíor ghuine lá. Os mo chóir amach leil an leir grá.
Mar scá chéile war an daine gan creative an agus ag a chonig me tusan fáilte seise slán na seachas ní na síl gan tusa bhíháin na spéire splá é an síl gus is me le grá gach nó méidir féidir nó gach lein gá smuoine bharta má híla ní nó máin si hasí na rudaí a détal siad a rá an gló se orm ó dul go galgarm fád is dá an síl ceol agus tarm me tusa mar an tain déine bhhair má intain agus plasú ar guards in na gránna dhé sin gan smuoine cuoine bear an ní sibh be go mis tusa agus be go tusa mise bear gam suga in bheán na chubh cliste gan an síl mór dácha seo na bhise.
Nuair tá mé ré sanna sá. Fecinn mé an tain fíor ghuine lá. Os mo chóir amach leil an leir grá. Ó crochtach rídót agus orda de cheann. Is féidir theachtas rud a big is cínte bailín. Tá mé an bhuíocht an méid a dóla má wet. Tá má sásta níos gread a ceart a thuairt chud. Nuair tá mé ré sanna sá. Fecinn mé an tain fíor ghuine lá. Os mo chóir amach leil an leir grá.
So before we go, we'd just like to take this opportunity to thank everybody who contributed to our first online event for the INJ. Special thanks go to the Embassy of Ireland in Japan, without whom none of this would have been possible. We'd like to thank our sponsors, the IDA, Enterprise Ireland, the Dubliners Pub, and everybody who has supported us throughout the years, and all our members all around the country for joining us. And most of all, thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you very much for being part of our very first Canoe. We'd like to finish this event with a photo montage showing the beauty of both our countries, Ireland and Japan, over the song May We All Someday Meet Again, written by Mark Leahy and performed by the legendary George Fury. Thank
you very much, and good night.
Bye-bye.
There are roads to where we're going, endless highways and dusty tracks, and every road that we have traveled is the road that always brings us back. So take us to familiar places and take us back to share again golden days and friendly faces. May we all someday meet again. And there are words we should have spoken, there are plans we should have made, and promises that we have broken. It has always been the same. So take us to familiar places and take us back to share again golden days and friendly faces. May we all someday meet again. Oh yeah. Take us to familiar places and take us back to share again golden days and friendly faces. May we all someday meet again. So have no fear of distant thunder, lightning strikes then moves ahead, and may the storm fill you with wonder. May it light the road that lies ahead. So take us to familiar places and take us back to share again golden days and friendly faces. May we all someday meet again. So take us to familiar places and take us back to share again golden days and friendly faces. May we all someday meet again. May we all someday meet again. Oh. Have a great day and Paddy's Day. Mind yourselves.